He lied once, and spent the rest of his life explaining it. This isn't a story about hardened criminals or elaborate heists. It's about two friends. Just regular guys who shared years of inside jokes, late-night conversations. And the kind of bond that feels unbreakable. It's the type of friendship that feels safe, familiar. A constant you never question. So, when the phone rang late one night, there was no hesitation. On the other end, a voice, shaky and desperate. "I just need you to cover for me," it pleaded. "Just this once, please." It sounded so simple. So harmless. Just two short sentences. That was all it would take. He was with me. All night. He said the words, and for a moment, it felt like it was over. No police lights flashed outside his window. No one was arrested. There were no immediate consequences. The lie worked. Or so he thought. He told himself it was done, a small favor for a friend in a tight spot, a tiny ripple that would quickly fade. But he was about to learn a very hard lesson. Lies don't just end when you stop speaking them. They have a life of their own. A few days later, the questions started again. They weren't aggressive or accusatory. They were small, calm, almost casual. A detective asking him to go over the timeline one more time. But the times didn't quite line up. A small detail he mentioned before had shifted. His memory of the evening suddenly seemed blurry under the quiet, steady gaze of the investigator. Every time he tried to correct a small inconsistency, he had to invent a new detail. A new lie. And each new lie needed another lie to protect it. His world started to shrink. Sleep became a luxury he couldn't afford, his nights filled with restless tossing and turning, replaying every word. The silence in his apartment grew deafening, filled with the unspoken weight of his deception. He found himself looking over his shoulder, his heart pounding at the sound of a car slowing down outside. The strange thing was, the truth wasn't actively chasing him. There were no dramatic confrontations or high-speed pursuits. It was far more subtle. The truth was just waiting. It was patient, sitting in the corner of every quiet room, an immovable presence he could feel even when he was alone. There was no force involved. No one shouted at him or slammed a fist on the table. There were no threats, no coercion, no bright lights shining in his eyes. It was just quiet rooms and calm, steady voices. The investigators were masters of patience. They just let him talk. And talk. And talk. They'd ask a simple question and then just listen, their silence creating a vacuum that he felt compelled to fill. With every word he spoke, the web of lies grew more tangled, more complex. He was trapping himself, and the truth simply sat there with him, and moved, waiting for him to run out of stories. Eventually, the pressure became too much. The different versions of the story swirled in his head until he couldn't even remember what was real and what he de-invented. He was lost in a maze of his own creation when the confession finally came. It wasn't a gentle admission, it was a dam breaking. The truth didn't trickle out, it burst forth in a flood of exhaustion and defeat, washing away everything in its path. And just like that, it was all gone. The friendship, shattered into a million pieces. The trust he'd built over a lifetime, evaporated. And finally, his freedom, all of it, sacrificed for a lie that was supposed to be harmless. He learned something in the quiet solitude that followed, a lesson that came far too late. Lies don't just disappear into the past, they multiply, they fester, they grow teeth, and sooner or later, they always bite back. The most dangerous thing about a lie isn't the telling of it, it's that a lie doesn't end, it just waits. Thanks for watching. If you want more stories that make you think, make sure to subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.